Hello and welcome back. I am ConantLybarian with Conan's EDC, Easy Dad Carry, and today is Zombie Apocalypse. And I want to go over some practical things that you probably have or can at least get your hands on for pretty cheap that can help keep you and your family safe during the zombie apocalypse. Let's take a look. All right, so the zombie apocalypse is here, like everyone always plans and everyone always thinks about, and popular media has made a real concern for a lot of people. Here's the thing. I, like most people, if the zombie apocalypse breaks out, I am not fully loaded like a Resident Evil SWAT team member. I, in fact, am just a dude with a garage full of stuff and random stuff in my house. So it's another garage clean-out day, and I thought today's the day to finally do this video. These are a few items that you might have or you can pick up super easily that can be super useful in that ever-approaching zombie apocalypse. Now, some of this stuff I'm pretty sure most people would have, even if you just have an apartment. And a lot of this stuff, like I said, you can get your hands on pretty easy. Now, I'm not going to go over a lot of the basics. Water, you need water. Food, you need food. Fire, flashlights, that sort of thing. I'm going to point out some other things that may kind of get left behind when you're, reading about it in books or watching a movie. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff, but what is the practicality when it comes to picking supplies and gear for the zombie apocalypse? So the first thing I want to talk about are the super basics. And that first one is duct tape. Duct tape is not only obviously amazing for a lot of different things, whether you're binding or making cordage, closing holes, something like that. You could even make rope with this stuff. This stuff can actually be used as, well, a sort of protection. So, what I've got here, just a quick wrap, this is an old jacket. Now, this can be done with any jacket or shirt. Hell, you could even wrap it around your arm if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it because then you're taking a lot of hair off. But simply wrapping a good several layers of duct tape around an article of clothing actually gives it a good bit more protection. Now, this is just a couple layers. However, while this may not protect you from a bullet, it does mean a good few layers of this is going to help protect you from a bite. Now, this is a pretty heavy coat, so this is more, I guess, a winter setup. But even just a long sleeve shirt, this would work out. And you can say you have a long sleeve shirt. You can put things inside of it. Say you want to put something like even just a bunch of paper inside of here, helps give that padding and helps give that protection against, well, that scary, scary bite. Okay, so tape. And there are a lot of, like I said, practical applications for this. Just make sure you have it with you. Easy way, if you're going to carry it, just squish it down. It packs just fine. Or if you want to keep it round to use it as a holder or a holster for something. The next thing, we're not going to talk about weaponry yet. We're going to talk about those other random items. Things that, again, kind of get left behind because it's not really cool in the dynamic nature of, say, a zombie movie. All right, so we've got a few things here. I'm going to kind of go through them. Gloves. You do not need hardcore SWAT team tactical gloves. A good pair of lambskin or leather gloves that you probably have in a tool shed are going to do pretty good. It's going to protect your hands in most cases from bites, from scratches, if you need to do some heavy work. A good pair of gardening gloves is honestly just fine. Next up, a speaker. Now, a speaker may seem counterintuitive. However, a speaker is good for distraction. A lot of speakers you can get 20, 30, 50 feet. If you set this up to make noise, then you can absolutely set this off as a distraction and run away. Little Bluetooth speakers are a dime a dozen these days. You can pick up a couple for $5, $10 a pop and keep those with you if you're going to be on the move or if you want to station them around wherever you're, say, located. this is a good distraction device to be able to lure zombies away from you. Next up, a radio. These guys are great. This guy came off Amazon. It was all of, I want to say maybe $10 at the most. Being able to know what is going on is fantastic. Now, this thing, like I said, you're more likely to have a radio of some sort. There we go. It's just battery operated. So that way, whether you just want to listen to, if you can find any music, but emergency broadcasts, it's great. Again, this could, if you were willing to sacrifice it, be used as a distraction device as well. But it's battery operated, so you're not counting on having to recharge it. You also aren't counting on having to use your phone. And honestly, these are just great to have around anyways. I use this in my garage a lot when I'm out here. Next up, well, these guys. So these are little expanding towelettes, and these are great for, well, a lot of things. I like them for keeping clean, which is nice. You can actually use them as cover. So say you want to take one of these, expand it, and soak it in some dirty water for some sort of camouflage, just to wipe up. These things in general just make great little items. Plus, again, I'm going to use the phrase a lot, or the word a lot, the buzzword distraction. Throwing off a couple of these if you just need something to make some noise somewhere else is awesome. Okay, speaking of distraction, fireworks. Fireworks are pretty easy to get a hold of, even if you get some poppers from the dollar store. These things making a huge noise somewhere else away from you. Definitely easy to carry, easy to set up. Yeah, fireworks. Absolutely an easy one to get a hold of. Next up is knives. Now, here's the thing. I would never want to face a zombie with just a knife. But having a knife is good for, well, not just fighting. It's a utility and it's a tool. Having a knife means that you have the thing with you when you need to fix something, when you need to break something, when you need to cut something. Something like a good old-fashioned Swiss Army knife. Having these types of tools on you, whether you're stationary or whether you're on the move during your zombie apocalypse, is super important. So a good knife that you're comfortable with, I would recommend personally something that you can carry in your pocket, just quick, or on your belt loop, something quick that you can access. Doesn't have to be giant, just something that can get a job done nice and quick. Something like a Swiss Army knife with tools, still some blades, but something that has some utility besides just cutting. And then something like this, whether we're looking at a large, just kind of belt strap, big old knife, something like that, it's a good idea to have something with you or on you that can do bigger, heavier work, or, if need be used to defend yourself as well. Couple other little things. We're going to talk about the rest of the utility of knives and weaponry in a second, but this is just a little deck of cards. Something to keep yourself sane, whether it's a book, a deck of cards, a small travel game. Have something in case of the zombie apocalypse so that you can actually, keep yourself somewhat sane. I like this air deck because they're waterproof. They're like a plastic material. Yeah, just a great little deck of cards that can fit even in a pocket or any sort of pack. So yeah, something to keep yourself insane, even if it's maybe just some dice. Light. I know I said I'm not going to go over flashlights and stuff, but this guy is $1. You don't need anything crazy. You don't need a million lumens. You need something that you can see in the dark, especially if you're camped out somewhere and you just want to look around in your surroundings. Something small, something easy to get a hold of. This guy's $1 at Walmart. Headlamps are super easy to get a hold of. Don't just have a flashlight that you have to hold. Have something that you can attach to your body to keep your hands free. Up next is a good set of goggles. Now, the point on this is if you're doing work, whether you're doing some sort of construction to fortify your location, or you're doing work like, say, slaying zombies, a good set of goggles just to keep your eyes clear, not to mention whether it's an infection or not from, various ichor. A good set of goggles helps keep you seeing and keeps your eyes protected because there's nothing more valuable than your senses, and especially your eyes, when you're dealing with the zombie apocalypse. Okay. Now, again, there are a lot of other things to go over. This does not. I'm not going to address specifically if you're stationary or if you're on the move, because situations change. And some of this stuff I would absolutely take with me. Some of it is stuff I would immediately drop if I left, say, my home. But the approach here is I'm in my location, I'm in my home, I'm in my garage, and I look up and there's zombies running up and down the street. This is what I have on me. As far as basic weaponry, now again, knives are absolutely great, but some of the most common things, not only that you might have, but that are easy to get a hold of, are these three. And these are obviously classics. A hammer has good force, good blunt force trauma, and you probably have one. Now, for me personally, it means you're getting a little close. This is last resort if you're having to use something like this. So, personally, a baseball bat, a good aluminum one, good metal one, means that you can get some distance, whether you're using it to push something away or smash something. A good baseball bat is absolutely worth having, and this guy was $2.99 at the thrift store. So yeah, a baseball bat, super easy to get a hold of. Plus, if you really wanted to, you could make this, you could roid this out, put all sorts of stuff on it, wrap it in barbed wire, put giant bolts on it, really make this thing some sort of war crime weapon. But a baseball bat is easy to get a hold of, and anyone can use it. Now, this guy. This one may not be as common, especially like I mentioned, if you're in an apartment complex. Power tools. Power tools have a lot of positives and a lot of negatives. It depends on what you're doing and how you're using them. Now, this guy is heavy. I don't know that I'd want to cart this around with me unless I was in a very heavy urban environment where I had to break into places, cut things apart. But having something like a grinder or a cutting wheel obviously is awesome. Drills, saws, all sorts of things. These tools can be used not only for modifying your environment, whether you're fortifying or traversing. It can, worst case scenario, be used, of course, as a weapon. Now, again, that'd be pretty tough. I don't know that I would want to get that close into somebody or have somebody so close that this is what I'm using. But power tools are absolutely kind of like a good pocket knife. Power tools are both a good defensive item and a good utility weapon just to keep yourself safe and keep yourself better set up. Now, something I also like, this guy. This guy is just a little small crossbow. And yes, this thing is real. And yes, this thing is in fact dangerous. This will put holes in someone. This is not a toy. This is good for, usually it's used for like rodent or pest control. This is something you can get at most hardware stores for maybe a couple bucks. I think this one cost me all of $13. Just has a couple little bolts. And this thing, well, I'll show it real quick here. Put it in, cock it back, load your bolt in here. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to accidentally fire anything. And then, make sure. All right, quick cut there because I had to take the safety off and it's been a while. Which honestly goes to note, if you have any sort of weaponry, if you have any sort of items, make sure you know how to use them. Make sure they're in good condition, but fire. Again, not going to fire anything on film because this thing will absolutely put holes in something or somebody. So yeah, just a little crossbow, and it's quiet. Now, something you'll notice here is I don't have any firearms on the table. And that's for a couple reasons. One, I don't really want guns on the channel. Number two, firearms are not nearly as accessible as these other items. Firearms are, in fact, a great tool. Firearms are, in fact, an item that personally I enjoy, personally I own. That being said, that's not what this is about. Because the other thing, too, while I've talked about distracting items, you're trying to keep yourself quiet. You're going for the gray man approach, which is to say you don't want to be noticed. And there is nothing louder than a firearm. So a little hand crossbow, $13, can definitely help keep you safe. This guy. You might not have one of these. This is a 2-foot long, big old heavy pipe wrench. Not something I would recommend carrying around with you. But again, just to kind of put out there, tools can be used in many ways besides just fixing stuff. This guy I picked up for, I think, $15-20 at an old garage sale, just because it was giant. And actually, I've used this plenty of times. But a good long, heavy pipe wrench or sewer wrench or something like that can be picked up at Harbor Freight for only a few bucks. And this thing is a massive blunt force weapon. So yeah, don't be stingy when it comes to what you might carry if you're going to stay stationary for a while. Okay. Now the last thing. The last thing is something that everybody needs. And I've been lucky enough to have this for a while now. This is the Zombinator 5000. Now, obviously, this may not be as common for most people, but it's pretty basic. Big old glaive welded onto an old shotgun with a crossbow on it. You know, just the sort of thing that you might have sitting around, the sort of thing that you may not use every day if you have a mouse or raccoon problem, but the sort of thing that really, when it comes down to it, do you want to be caught off guard during the zombie apocalypse without a Zombinator 5000? So yeah, I mean, I don't know where you can find these. I had, this was a gift from a friend many years ago, but you know, this is not only the things you might have in your garage, but the things I have in my garage. And yeah, just make sure of everything here. You absolutely got to have a Zombinator 5000. And I think, honestly, that covers it. I hope this has been a practical and thoughtful approach to surviving the zombie apocalypse, because at the end of the day, you could be Brad Pitt and try to save the world. You could be, I'm trying to think of main characters. You could be Alice in Resident Evil. You could be try to be all sorts of Rambo movie characters. But really what I want to do, if zombies are running up and down my street, what I'd like to do is drink coffee and keep my family nice and safe and protected. So thank you for spending your time with me. Thank you for, taking some of this into consideration. Make sure down below, drop a comment. What would you pick up? What do you have in your home that you haven't thought about? What do you have in your home that you think, why didn't they think about this when you saw a zombie movie or show? You know, The Walking Dead, they do all these things, but at the same time, they walk past, I guarantee, half of this stuff and don't even consider it when it could, in fact, be something that really could keep you safe. So, yeah, drop a comment below. Please like, share, subscribe. I absolutely appreciate it. And as always, stay safe, be prepared, and have a zombie-free day.